Now in the 400th year of the arrival of African Americans at Point Comfort. In 2014, the City Council appointed a commemorative commission to help develop a sequence of events to promote understanding of this history and to help commemorate in an appropriate manner this history that occurred right here in Hampton, Virginia. And we have had commissioners who've been working very diligently on the development of these plans under the very capable leadership of co-chairs Dr. Cleta Fairfax and Lieutenant Colonel Retired Claude Van. We're here tonight to present that plan to you. I do want to acknowledge the city staff who have supported this effort, including Assistant City Manager Steve Bond, our Commission of Air Visitors Bureau Director Mary Cugier, and our Hampton History Museum Director Lucy Cochran, and of course Mayor Tuck, Councilman Moffitt when he was here, and now Vice Mayor Gray have been council liaisons to this commission. And I believe we may have other commissioners in attendance, but I'll leave that to Mr. Van and Dr. Fairfax to do more appropriate introductions.
Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, City Manager, City Attorney. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about the 400th anniversary. My lovely co-chair here has got me all tuned up and spinned up to go forth and talk about this message of a great time that we're having here in Hampton, Virginia in 2019. Certainly, we had thought we would have a great, grand fanfare about 400th anniversary, but something happened in Washington about the government budget that's kind of stolen our thunder a little bit, and a lot of people's attention have been directed otherwise. But that's okay, we're proceeding forward, and we're going to light it up and make sure that people know that Hampton, Virginia was the location that the first Africans landed at when they came to this country. So certainly it's been an interesting voyage. This commission has been together probably about 5 years. And although 5 years doesn't sound like a whole lot of time when you compare it to the 400, there has been a very difficult journey along the way. I never knew so much about history, but I've learned from my colleagues out here in the red shirts, and I thank them for helping educate me about what transpired, and it's made us all a little bit smarter about what's going on or has gone on in our city. Certainly, our slide tells what we're here to do, and Doc, if you go ahead and shoot me one more, and we'll go forward. As you can see, our mission up there is to implement a plan to commemorate the landing. We are looking to go international as well as throughout the state and the nation. And we've already begun with our students here in Hampton, which Dr. Fairfax will cover a little bit later. We are reaching out to the international community, and we've already seen some interest from other countries from the African continent to come and participate with us in the August timeframe. So that is big stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far this thing goes, because I really think that we've got a pearl right here in Hampton that we just need to shine up a little bit. We're going to do that. The City of Hampton has some partners that have worked with us. We're fortunate enough to have members of the National Park Service, the Fort Monroe Authority, Project 1619. I don't think I see anybody from Project 1619 here, but we have other community partners. And I think that the African American History Commission has shown us a lot on where we're headed to. Okay, I was going to add one other thing in there. I want to thank all our members here. We've got a great group of folks that include the clergy. We've got our business community here with Raymond Tripp from Coliseum Central, or out there at the, I can't think of it now, but I'm getting it there. But certainly we have educators that are part of this process. And we just have a fantastic group of folks with a lot of knowledge. We have historians, we got academicians, and people a lot smarter than I ever dreamed of being. And I'm going to turn the floor over to one of those smart people right now.
Good evening, Council. I'd like the Commission to please stand and be recognized. We have really wonderful people in this commission. And might you please render a round of applause to my just so that we are all on the same page and to elucidate some historical facts about those Africans who came to Point Comfort, present-day Hampton, in 1619. It was in latter August of 1619, as chronicled and witnessed by John Rolfe in his diary. And they were from Angola, and they arrived on a ship entitled White Lion. And what is so significant about this particular historical period is that it dispels the myth that they arrived at Jamestown. Many of us were educated to believe that there was a whole group of Africans who were all at what is considered now to be the Jamestown settlement, and that is not the case. When those Africans landed in 1619, they were dispersed throughout the Virginia colony. And so they were brought here, exchanged for victuals or food, and they were here to work, to labor, to extend the colony. And so they were dispersed throughout the Virginia colony at different settlements and plantations. This is significant because it focuses on the reality of why those Africans arrived here and their purpose. And their purpose was to work. Very different, for example, when women from England came in 1620. They came to really become wives of those men who were here. But the purpose of those Africans when they came here, and then the generations of Africans afterwards, was to work, to labor, without any rights, human rights, any rights whatsoever. And this is very important for us to recognize. We also want to recognize that among those Africans who arrived was a man named Anthony and a woman named Isabella, we've seen two variations of her name. And they became servants of Captain William Tucker, who was stationed at Kickingham, Point Comfort. This is important because oftentimes we don't learn about those Africans, but they were here in Elizabeth City County, what would become Elizabeth City County, and they worked in the tobacco fields and cypress groves on that plantation. Around 1624, 1625, they gave birth to William, their son, named after the commandant. And so it's significant that the birth of their child signifies that though there were Africans who were here and who began to create a life under duress, but birthed a child. And this is so significant for us to recognize here in Hampton. Fast forward to the Tucker Cemetery. It's believed that the Tucker Cemetery in historic Aberdeen Gardens in Hampton may be the original burial ground of this family, or perhaps some descendants of some persons from this family. There's still being tests run out at this cemetery, and we know that Captain Tucker owned portions of the land where Bluebird Gap Farm is today, and so conceivably some of his descendants lived in the area, owned enslaved persons under the name of Tucker. And lastly, what is so significant about this story is that we don't have to only consider the tragedy of enslavement, but we can consider the triumphant story where in the very same place in 1861, 3 men of African descent who were working for the Confederate Army in Norfolk took a skiff, rowed it across the Chesapeake, and emancipated themselves by rendering themselves to Benjamin Butler, Major General Benjamin Butler. Frank Baker, James Townsend, and Shepard Mallory took freedom into their own hands. This story would not have happened if they had not taken the initiative to take their freedom, because they learned that they might have been sold further south and they would have been away from their families. And so what's significant about Hampton is that although we find the story of enslavement, we do also find the triumphant story of freedom here. And so there's several areas that we are going to cover with regards to our commemoration this year. In August, in areas of education, marketing, our commemoration objectives, and the Fort Monroe Visitor Center. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Banks.